Have you ever scrolled through your phone and suddenly felt overwhelmed? One video says this, another article says that. A friend shares one opinion, a stranger argues the opposite, and you're left wondering, who's right? What's real? What should I believe? We're living in the age of unlimited information. But somehow, we're more confused than ever before. Fake news, conspiracy theories, online outrage, biased influencers, viral trends. It's like the truth is buried under a mountain of noise, and let's be honest. There's a silent pressure to pick a side, react fast, and not ask too many questions. But deep down, we all feel it. That quiet discomfort. That whisper in the back of our mind saying, is this really true? Am I being manipulated? You are not alone. Meet Jason. He's 32, lives in Chicago, works in tech. One evening, after a long day, he watches a video about financial freedom. It promises fast results. Just follow these 5 steps and you'll be rich. The speaker sounds confident. The music builds emotion. The comments are full of praise. Jason decides to invest in an online course the very next day. 3 weeks later, he's not richer. He's more confused and down $700. He's embarrassed and angry, not just at the person who sold him the dream, but at himself. Why didn't I think it through? That question haunted him. But Jason's story isn't unique. In fact, it's becoming painfully common. In a world driven by attention, opinions spread faster than facts. Emotions overpower logic. Loud voices drown out quiet truths. That's why the ability to think clearly, to think critically, has become the most important survival skill of our time. So, what is critical thinking? At its heart, it's the power to pause, question, and choose wisely. It's the mental armor that protects you from manipulation. It's the skill that helps you cut through the noise and find clarity. It's not about being smarter than others. It's about being smarter than your first reaction. This audiobook is your complete guide to mastering that power. Not through theory, but through real-world tools, examples, and step-by-step strategies. You'll learn how to ask questions that uncover the truth, spot lies, bias, and logical traps, evaluate evidence like a detective, build arguments that actually change minds, and most importantly, think for yourself, always. By the end of this journey, you won't just understand critical thinking, you'll live it. And once you do, everything changes. From the way you read the news, to how you make decisions, to how you lead your life. Because in a world full of noise, the person who can think clearly wins. So take a deep breath. Get ready to challenge what you think you know. And let's begin the journey to unlocking the most powerful skill you'll ever learn. Critical thinking. Let's master it together. Chapter 2. How to ask the right questions. Have you ever felt stuck in a conversation where the other person just doesn't get it, or sat through a lecture or meeting and walked away thinking, I still don't understand what that was about? You listened, you nodded, but inside you were lost. That's not because you weren't smart enough. It's because you weren't asking the right questions. In life, we're taught to listen, to follow, and to memorize, but we're rarely taught how to question. And without questions, there can be no clarity. Let's start with a true story. Maya is a university student in London, bright, ambitious, and hardworking. She studies hours every day but still struggles during exams. One day in class, her professor says something confusing about a theory in economics. Everyone else stays silent. So does Maya. She doesn't want to look stupid. Later that night, she searches for explanations online. She watches videos, reads blogs, scrolls forums, but nothing makes it clearer. She's frustrated. She doubts herself. Weeks later, she finds out half the class didn't understand either, but no one asked. They were all just pretending. What if Maya had asked just one question that day? How exactly does this theory work in real life? That one question could have saved her weeks of confusion, but it's not Maya's fault. Most of us were never taught how to ask questions that open minds and unlock understanding. We were taught to stay quiet, accept what we're told, and move on. But here's the truth. Every breakthrough in human history began with a question. Why is the sky blue? What if the earth isn't flat? Can diseases be cured? Can machines think? Questions aren't signs of weakness. They're signs of strength. And the smarter your questions, the sharper your thinking becomes. So what makes a question right? Let's break it down. Right questions do three things. They open up deeper thinking. They challenge assumptions. They lead to discovery, not just answers. Let's look at some examples. Weak question. Is this true? Strong question. What evidence supports this and what might contradict it? Weak question. Do I agree with this? Strong question. Why do I feel this way and could I be missing something? Weak question. Is this person right? Strong question. What is their motivation and who benefits from this argument? Strong questions don't just seek facts. They explore why things are the way they are. They pull back the curtain. Here are 5 powerful types of questions every critical thinker should master. Clarifying questions. These help you understand something better. Example, can you explain that in a simpler way? Or, what do you mean by that term? 2. Probing assumptions. These uncover the hidden beliefs behind a statement. Example, what are you assuming here? Or, is there another way to look at this? 3. Challenging perspectives. These open the door to other viewpoints. Example, what would someone with the opposite view say? Or, why might someone disagree with this? Evaluating evidence. These test the strength of a claim. Example, where is the evidence coming from? Or, how reliable is this? Source. 5. Exploring implications. These look at long-term effects. Example, if we accept this idea, what follows? Or, what could go wrong? Asking these kinds of questions doesn't slow you down. It makes you faster at getting to the truth. Here's a simple 3-step daily method you can start using today. Step 1. Pause before accepting. When someone shares a fact or opinion, take a breath. Ask, what's really being said here? Step 2. Go one layer deeper. Instead of reacting, ask a follow-up. What led them to believe this? Step 3. Flip the question. Turn it back to yourself. What do I believe and why? Start doing this in small ways. During conversations, while watching the news, scrolling social media. Instead of judging, start questioning. You'll be amazed at how much sharper your mind becomes. David is a team leader in a New York marketing agency. During a meeting, his colleague suggests cutting half the budget on a new campaign. Most people agree silently, but David pauses and asks, "Can you walk me through the data that supports this decision?" Suddenly, the room goes quiet. The colleague admits, "Well, I don't have the data yet." That one question saved the company thousands of dollars. Why? Because David didn't accept things at face value. He questioned intelligently, and that's what great thinkers do. Right now, take a moment. Think about a belief you've held for a long time. Now ask yourself, why do I believe this? Who taught me? Is it still true today? You've just done what many people go their whole lives without doing. You've challenged your own thinking, and that's the start of something powerful. When you learn how to ask the right questions, you don't just get better answers. You start living a better life, because every truth begins with a question. And now, you know how to ask the right ones. Let's go deeper. In the next chapter, we'll learn how to spot the bad arguments that often trick even the smartest minds. Chapter 3. Spotting bad arguments and logical fallacies. Have you ever found yourself convinced by a powerful speaker, only to later realize they didn't actually say anything meaningful? Or read a post online that felt true in the moment, but something about it didn't sit right? Welcome to the world of bad arguments, where logic takes a back seat and emotions drive the car. We're surrounded by them every single day. News headlines, politicians, influencers, even friends and family. The words sound right, but the logic is broken, and when the logic breaks, so does your ability to see the truth. Meet Alex. Alex is 35, lives in Los Angeles, and considers himself well-informed. He watches the news, listens to podcasts, follows debates online. One evening, he hears a speaker on a podcast say, "Anyone who doesn't agree with this policy clearly hates the country." It hits Alex hard. He thinks, "Wait, I don't agree with that policy, but I love my country." Still, he doubts himself. Maybe he is wrong. Maybe he shouldn't ask questions. But here's what actually happened. Alex just heard a logical fallacy, a trick in reasoning. The speaker didn't make a real argument. They made an emotional trap. And Alex almost fell into it. This is why spotting bad arguments isn't just an academic skill. It's survival. What is a logical fallacy? A logical fallacy is a flaw in reasoning that makes an argument invalid or misleading. It may sound convincing. It may even make you feel something, but it fails under real examination. And if you don't know how to spot one, you'll be fooled over and over again. But here's the good news. Once you learn the patterns, you can start seeing fallacies everywhere. They're predictable, repetitive, and easy to beat if you know how. Let's explore the most common logical fallacies that manipulate people every day and how to defend yourself against them. Ad hominem. This fallacy attacks the person instead of the argument. Example: she's just a college dropout. Why should we listen to her opinion on business? Why it's wrong. Someone's background doesn't automatically make their ideas invalid. You must attack the idea, not the person. How to respond. Let's focus on the argument itself, not who's saying it. Straw man. This misrepresents someone's argument to make it easier to attack. Example: Person A: we should have some limits on surveillance. Person B: oh, so you want criminals to run free? Why it's wrong. It twists the original idea into something extreme and false. How to respond. That's not what I said. Let's stick to the actual point I made. 3. False dilemma, either or thinking. This fallacy presents only two options when more exist. Example: if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. Why it's wrong. Life is complex. There's often a spectrum, not a binary. How to respond. Are there other possible viewpoints or options here? 4. Appeal to emotion. This uses fear, guilt, or other emotions to persuade instead of logic. Example: if you care about your children, you'll buy this product. Why it's wrong. Emotion alone isn't evidence. It's a manipulation tactic. How to respond. What are the actual facts behind this claim? 5. Bandwagon fallacy. This argues that something must be right because everyone else believes it. Example: millions of people can't be wrong. This diet must work. Why it's wrong. Popularity doesn't prove truth. History is full of popular but false ideas. How to respond. Let's look at the evidence, not just how many people agree. Why these fallacies work. Fallacies don't work because they're smart. They work because they feel easy. They bypass logic and go straight for your emotion, fear, pride, shame, loyalty. And in a fast-paced world, our brains are always looking for shortcuts. That's when we fall for bad logic. But when you pause, when you ask, wait, does this actually make sense? You break the spell. Here's a 3-step method to protect yourself in daily life. Step 1. Spot the emotion. Is the speaker trying to make you scared, angry, or guilty? Step 2. Slow it down. Don't react immediately. Ask, what is the actual point being made? Step 3. Test the logic. Ask yourself, is this attacking the argument or the person? Is this presenting only two choices? Is this backed by real evidence or just popularity? You'll start seeing patterns. Fallacies repeated again and again by advertisers, leaders, even well-meaning friends. Emma is a young mother living in Manchester. She's scrolling Instagram and sees a post. Smart moms don't vaccinate. Don't be a sheep. It scares her. The post has thousands of likes. The comments are intense. But Emma remembers what she's learned. She pauses. She sees the appeal to fear, the bandwagon fallacy, the personal attacks. She takes a breath. Then she does real research. from actual medical experts. She makes an informed choice. Emma didn't just protect herself, she protected her child. That's the power of critical thinking. Logical fallacies aren't just ideas in textbooks. They're the silent weapons used to shape your beliefs, your choices, your reality. But you don't have to be a victim. Now you have the tools. Start listening closely. Start asking, what's really being said here? And when someone tries to win you over with a flashy but flawed argument, you'll see right through it. Because from today, you don't just hear arguments, you understand them, and that changes everything. Next, we'll learn how to evaluate evidence, so you can separate what's true from what just sounds true. Chapter 4. Evaluating evidence like a detective. Imagine this. You wake up, open your phone, and see a headline. New study shows chocolate helps burn fat. Excited, you forward it to friends. You smile. Chocolate just got promoted to a health food. But wait. A few days later, another article pops up. Doctors warn, chocolate could increase heart risk. Confused? Now you don't know what to believe. So, you give up. You stop caring. You tell yourself, everyone's just making stuff up anyway. But here's the truth. It's not that the world is full of lies. It's that most people don't know how to evaluate evidence. We don't know what counts, what's reliable, or what's just noise. And without that skill, we're like blindfolded passengers, listening to anyone who grabs the microphone. But today, that changes. Meet Brandon. Brandon is 40, lives in Texas, and has just been diagnosed with high blood pressure. He wants to make healthy changes, so he turns to YouTube for advice. One video says, go vegan. Another says, eat only meat. A third swears by fasting. A fourth says fasting is dangerous. Brandon is overwhelmed. Everyone seems confident. Everyone shows proof. But all the proof points in different directions. That's when Brandon remembers a question his mentor once asked. What's the source? And how do you know it's solid? That one question changes his entire approach. Here's the biggest myth people believe. If there's evidence, it must be true. But the reality is, evidence is only as strong as its source, method, and interpretation. There are different levels of evidence. Some are powerful, some are weak, some are just noise dressed as science. Critical thinkers act like detectives. They don't just see the surface, they look deeper. Let's break it down. 1. Primary versus secondary sources. Primary sources are original data, research studies, experiments, direct observations. Secondary sources interpret or summarize those results. Blogs, videos, news articles. Example, the actual scientific study. Primary, an article summarizing that study. Secondary. Rule, always try to trace the information back to its original source. 2. Correlation versus causation. Just because two things happen together doesn't mean one caused the other. Example, ice cream sales and drowning rates both go up in summer. That doesn't mean ice cream causes drowning. Many claims are built on correlation, but presented as causation. Critical thinkers spot this trick fast. 3. Sample size and context. A study done on 12 people isn't the same as a study on 12,000. A study from 20 years ago isn't the same as one done last month. Context matters. Ask, how many people were studied? Who funded the research? What was the goal of the study? 4. Source credibility. Would you trust a mechanic to give you medical advice, or a celebrity to teach you climate science? Before accepting a claim, ask, who is making this claim? What are their qualifications? Do they benefit from convincing me? Look for bias. Is the source independent, or do they have something to sell? 5. Peer review and repetition. Scientific research is powerful when it's reviewed by other experts, peer review. It's repeated and confirmed multiple times. One flashy study isn't enough. Good evidence survives multiple tests, not just one exciting headline. Here's a 4-step formula you can use today. Step 1. Trace the claim. Ask, where is this information originally coming from? If it's a tweet quoting a news article that summarizes a study, go deeper. Step 2. Check the numbers. Ask, what was the sample size? What's the time frame? Was it tested again? Step 3. Evaluate the source. Ask, who is saying this? Do they have expertise or a motive? Step 4. Ask what's missing. Often, what's not said is as important as what is. Ask, is this the whole picture or a cherry-picked piece? Olivia, a 29-year-old from Birmingham, was planning to start a supplement her favorite influencer recommended. Life-changing, the influencer said, backed by science, but something felt off. Olivia paused. She Googled the study mentioned. Turns out it wasn't peer-reviewed. It was funded by the company selling the supplement. The sample size, just 9 people, and the researcher on the company's payroll. Olivia didn't take the supplement. Instead, she took control of her mind. That's what evaluating evidence gives you. Clarity in a world full of confusion. We live in the most information-rich era in human history, but also the most misinformed. Every day, you'll face headlines, hashtags, and half-truths. The only way to rise above the noise is to think like a detective. Don't just ask, is this true? Ask, who's saying this? Why are they saying it? What's their proof? And what's the full story? You have the tools now. You don't need to fear confusion. You can face any claim, any conversation, any controversy with calm, confident clarity. Because you don't just absorb information anymore. You examine it. And that's what sets you apart. In the next chapter, we'll go even deeper into how to think independently in a world that pressures you to conform. Chapter 5. Thinking independently in a noisy world. Have you ever shared a post just because everyone else was sharing it? Laughed at a joke you didn't find funny just to fit in? Held back an opinion because you didn't want to start something? If yes, you're not alone. In fact, you're human. We all want to belong. We all want to feel safe. And sometimes that means we borrow other people's thoughts instead of forming our own. But here's the silent cost. When you stop thinking for yourself, you start living someone else's life. Let me tell you a story. Leah is 24, living in Chicago. She's smart, curious, and politically aware. She follows the right people, shares the right content, likes the right posts. But one day, she reads an article that challenges something she's always believed. It's thoughtful, well-written, respectful, and it makes her uncomfortable. Because deep inside, a voice whispers, "What if I've been wrong all this time?" She starts to type a comment, expressing her doubt. Then she freezes. What if her friends see it? What if they call her out? What if she loses her tribe? So she deletes it, scrolls away, and says nothing. That moment may seem small, but it's massive. It's the moment where Leah had a chance to think independently, but fear won, belonging won, noise won, and this doesn't happen just to Leah. It happens to all of us. Social media doesn't just show us the world. It shows us a version of the world that agrees with us. The algorithm learns what we like, and then keeps feeding us more of it. More posts that confirm our beliefs. More voices that sound just like ours. More content that says, you're right, they're wrong. And slowly, our thinking becomes a mirror. We only see what we already believe. That's called an echo chamber. And it's one of the biggest threats to clear thinking today. So what does it mean to think independently? It doesn't mean being rebellious for the sake of rebellion. It doesn't mean rejecting every popular idea. It means asking, what do I really think after I've looked at both sides? What's the truth beyond my tribe, beyond my team, beyond my feelings? It means being able to say, I don't know yet, let me explore further. That's strength, not weakness. 1. Confirmation bias. We naturally look for information that supports what we already believe, and we avoid what challenges us. Example, if you think coffee is bad for health, you'll click on every article that proves it, and ignore the ones that say otherwise. Solution, intentionally read opposing views. Ask, what am I missing? 2. Social pressure. Sometimes we go with the crowd, not because they're right, but because we're tired of standing alone. Example, at work you may stay silent in a meeting, even if you see a flaw in the plan. Solution, practice respectful disagreement. Use phrases like, "That's interesting, can I offer another perspective?" 3. Mental shortcuts. In a fast-paced world, we don't always have time to think deeply, so we go with gut reactions or opinions we've heard before. Example, judging someone based on their accent, appearance, or political sticker. Solution, pause, reflect, ask, what evidence do I actually have? Here's a daily mental workout to build independent thinking. Step 1, the why test. When you believe something, ask yourself, why do I believe this? Who told me? When did I first start thinking this way? If you can't explain it, you probably haven't examined it. Step 2, seek the opposite. Each week, pick one belief you hold strongly. Now, search for the best argument against it, not to agree, but to understand. This builds empathy and sharpens your clarity. Step 3, make space for silence. Independent thinking requires space. Every day, disconnect for 15 minutes. No scrolling, no noise, just thinking. You'll be surprised what surfaces when the world gets quiet. Let's return to Leah. A month after her moment of doubt, she finally clicks post. She shares a thoughtful opinion that doesn't fully align with her usual circle. She expects backlash. But something surprising happens. Someone thanks her. Another person joins the conversation. A small, honest discussion begins. She didn't lose her tribe. She expanded it, because courage is contagious, and truth attracts truth. The world will always be noisy. Opinions will always be loud. But your mind, that's your sanctuary. That's the place you protect. Independent thinking doesn't mean rejecting the world. It means rising above it, long enough to see clearly, to choose your own beliefs, to shape your own path. So next time you feel the pressure to agree, to react, to fit in, take a breath and ask yourself, what do I think really? That question is your anchor. And from now on, your mind belongs to no one else but you. Next, we'll learn how to build powerful arguments that don't just defend your ideas, but actually win minds and open hearts. Chapter 6. Building strong arguments that win minds. Have you ever had a moment where you knew you were right, but just couldn't explain it well enough to convince anyone else? Maybe in a work meeting, maybe in a family debate, or maybe while defending something you deeply believe in. And at the end of the conversation, despite all your passion, you felt unheard, misunderstood, frustrated. It happens to everyone, because knowing what you believe is one thing, but communicating it clearly is another. The world doesn't run on truth alone, it runs on how truth is delivered. Michael is a 36-year-old manager at a tech company in Seattle. He's preparing a proposal for a big change in how his team works. He knows it'll save time. He's confident it'll improve performance. He walks into the boardroom full of facts. But 10 minutes into the presentation, people start pushing back. They're confused, some are defensive, and by the end, nothing changes. Michael walks out thinking, what just happened? He had data. He had logic, but he didn't have an strong argument. What went wrong? Let's break it down. Most people think of arguments as battles. One person wins, the other loses. But that mindset is broken. Because when people feel attacked, they stop listening. They protect their ego, not explore the idea. A strong argument doesn't crush the other person. It opens a door. It invites them to walk through with you. It gives them reasons, not orders. And to do that, you need a clear structure and a human tone. The three-part formula of a powerful argument. Whether you're writing, speaking, or debating, this structure works everywhere. Step 1. The claim. This is your main point. What do you believe? Example. I believe remote work should be the default option for our team. Be clear. Be direct. Avoid vague language. Step 2. The evidence. Support your claim with real, verifiable proof. Use data, studies, expert opinions, examples, or personal experience. Example, according to a 2023 study by Stanford, remote teams were 13% more productive and had higher job satisfaction. Or, in the last 3 months, our remote days had fewer errors and higher output. Make sure your evidence is specific, relevant, and recent. Step 3. The reasoning, connect the dots. Explain how the evidence supports your claim. This is where you lead their mind, step by step. Example. If we already see better results on remote days, then scaling it up can improve consistency and reduce costs. Reasoning is the glue that holds your claim and evidence together. Emotional. Intelligence in arguments. People don't change their minds with logic alone. They change when they feel safe, respected, heard. So, a great argument includes empathy. Acknowledge the other side. I understand this change might feel uncomfortable at first. Tone. Speak with calm confidence, not aggression. Curiosity. Invite questions. What do you think about this approach? Remember, your goal is not to win, it's to connect, convince, create clarity. Common mistakes to avoid. 1. Overloading with facts. Too much data can overwhelm. Pick 2 to 3 strong points and explain them well. 2. Assuming the listener already understands, always explain your thinking step by step. Don't assume knowledge. 3. Using emotion instead of logic. Emotion can support your point, but it should never replace your evidence. Let's go back to Michael. The next time Michael presents, he does something different. He starts with a story, then makes a clear claim. I believe our team should adopt a 4-day workweek trial. He brings 2 strong pieces of evidence. He shows how it connects to the team's past performance, and he ends by asking, what concerns do you have? This time, people listen. The room is curious, not defensive, and within a month, the pilot program is approved. Michael didn't raise his voice. He raised the quality of his thinking. Here's how you can apply this in your daily life. 1. Use the because technique. Whenever you make a claim, ask yourself, why do I believe this? Then say it out loud using because. If you can't explain it clearly, you're not ready to argue it. 2. Practice with paper. Take a belief or idea you strongly hold. Now write it in 3 parts. Claim, evidence, reasoning. Then, say it aloud. If it flows logically, you're on the right track. 3. Test with a friendly challenger. Find someone who disagrees with you, but is respectful. Share your argument. Ask them to poke holes in it. Then refine, repeat, strengthen. Your voice matters, but your clarity is what gives it power. In a noisy world, the people who are heard are not the loudest. They're the ones who speak with reason, respect, and structure. So the next time you enter a conversation, a meeting, or even a comment section, don't aim to crush the other person. Aim to build a bridge. A bridge made of truth, evidence, and empathy. Because that's how you don't just win arguments, you win minds, you win trust. And sometimes, you even change lives. In our final chapter, we'll talk about how to take all this knowledge and turn it into a daily habit of lifelong critical thinking. Let's finish strong. Chapter 7. Becoming a lifelong critical thinker. Let me ask you a question. What happens after the audiobook ends? What happens after the quotes fade, the examples end, and life gets loud again? Because let's face it, you might feel inspired now. But what about tomorrow, when the headlines scream louder than your thoughts? What about next week, when your friends push opinions with zero evidence? What about next month, when you're tired, stressed, and tempted to just go with the flow? This is where real critical thinking begins, not in theory, but in real life, in chaos, in conversation, in quiet moments. And to master it, you don't need a genius brain. You need one thing, a system, a way to make critical thinking a part of your daily life. Let's get into it. The story of Daniel. Daniel is 41, living in London, working in finance. For years, he thought he was a logical person, but in reality, he was on autopilot. He trusted sources he liked. He dismissed views that made him uncomfortable. He made fast decisions and called it gut feeling. It worked until it didn't. One day, a business decision based on poor assumptions cost his company thousands. He was humiliated, and it hit him. I've been making choices based on emotion, not logic, on habit, not thought. That day, Daniel made a shift. He decided to stop feeling smart and start thinking smart, not once, but every day, and that's what made the difference. Most people treat thinking like breathing. They just do it. But critical thinking is like a muscle. It grows only if you train it, and like all powerful skills, it sticks only when it becomes a routine. So let's build your routine. Not complicated, not heavy, just 15 minutes a day, but done with intention. The 5 habits of a lifelong critical thinker. 1. The daily question habit. Every day, ask yourself one deep question. Examples. What's something I believe without evidence? Where might I be wrong? What idea have I never challenged? Write it down, sit with it. Even 5 minutes can rewire how you see the world. 2. The double source rule. Before accepting any fact, find 2 independent sources that confirm it. This kills echo chambers. It stops lazy acceptance, and it trains your brain to verify before believing. 3. The pause before react rule. When you hear something shocking, emotional, or triggering, don't share, don't respond. Pause, ask, what's the full story? Is there a motive behind this message? Am I being emotionally pushed into belief? This single habit can protect you from 90% of manipulation. 4. The opposite view exercise. Once a week, take an idea you strongly believe. Now research the opposite view, not to change your mind, but to expand it. Understanding the other side doesn't weaken your belief. It fortifies it with clarity and empathy. 5. The quiet mind ritual. Each day, spend 10-15 minutes in silence. No phone, no content, no noise. Just think. Let your mind breathe. Let ideas unfold. Let truth rise without pressure. This is where deep thought lives. When you live this way, things change. You don't fall for every trend. You don't get trapped in false debates. You speak less, but when you do, people listen. You stop reacting and start responding. You gain clarity, others crave. Critical thinking becomes your default setting, not because you try hard, but because you've trained your brain to think better every day. Nina, a school teacher in New Jersey, started this journey. Just like you, she listened to this audiobook, took notes, and decided to apply just one habit: the daily question. She kept a journal. Every day she asked herself one uncomfortable question. Within weeks, her conversations changed. She started asking better questions in the classroom. Her students noticed. Her colleagues did too. One day, her principal said, "Nina, you've become the most thoughtful voice in every meeting." She smiled, not because she had answers, but because she finally had the tools to ask the right questions. That's the power of living as a critical thinker. That's the power you now hold. You've done something rare. You didn't just listen to a book. You went deep. You learned how to think, not what to think, but how. And now, this isn't just a skill you've gained. It's a lens, a new way to see the world, to navigate it with clarity, strength, and independence. So as the world keeps shouting louder, you'll stay calm, you'll stay sharp, you'll think on purpose every day. Because from today, you're not just a listener, you're a critical thinker for life. Conclusion. Your mind, your greatest tool. Take a moment. Breathe. You've done something rare. In a world of shortcuts, opinions, and distractions, you chose to listen, to think, to grow. And now, look at how far you've come. You began this journey perhaps feeling uncertain, wanting clarity, hoping to find tools that could help you navigate the confusion of the modern world. And now, you've learned how to think clearly, even when emotions run high. Question deeply, even when the world pushes for fast answers. Spot weak arguments, emotional manipulation, and bad logic. Evaluate evidence with precision, like a detective. Speak with confidence, structure, and strength. And most importantly, think independently. This isn't just knowledge. This is your new edge, your inner compass, your mental armor. You are now more than just informed. You're empowered. You are now a critical thinker. And being a critical thinker doesn't mean you always have the right answer. It means you're always asking the right questions. It means you're not easily fooled, not easily swayed, not easily silenced. It means your opinions are yours, not borrowed. Your choices are conscious, not pressured. Your beliefs are earned, not inherited. You don't follow the noise anymore. You pause, you analyze, you think. And in today's world, that's not just rare, that's revolutionary. From today, you have two paths. Let this be something you once listened to, or let it be the moment that changed your mental habits forever. The world will keep spinning. Headlines will keep shouting. Social media will keep distracting. But you now have the tools to rise above it all, to stay sharp, to stay aware, to stay grounded. And when others feel lost in the noise, you will become the voice of clarity. The greatest power you'll ever have is not in how much you know, but in how well you think. And now, you know how to think. Own it, practice it, live it, because your mind isn't just a tool, it's your most powerful weapon. And now, it's sharper than ever. Thank you for listening to this audiobook from English Audiobook FM, where we turn powerful books into clear, engaging, and life-changing listening experiences. If you found value in this audiobook, subscribe to our channel to explore more mind-expanding content. Hit the like button if this journey made you think differently, and don't forget to comment below. What was the most powerful lesson you're taking with you today? We believe knowledge should be simple, practical, and powerful. And at English Audiobook FM, we're just getting started. Your next breakthrough could be just one audiobook away. Until next time, stay sharp, stay curious, and never stop thinking.